you will say that it is a church. If you look at another wall of the temple, you will say it is a temple. One wall represents Muslim culture, Muslim architecture, mosque. One represents synagogue, Jewish place of worship. Ramakrishna Paramahansaji believed in religious tolerance, religious pluralism, and such values needs to be promoted, protected. Our culture is known as composite culture. It is neither Hindu nor Muslim culture. It is a mili juli sanji virasat. Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb on Ganges, holy places of Hinduism are there. On the banks of Yamuna, Muslim buildings, Mughal buildings are there. This is Mili Juli ya Sanji composite culture. To promote composite culture is one of the duties in the Indian Constitution. So let's hear from Dr. Niharika Tiwari ji, his ideas, his analysis, his arguments on this very important topic, that is multiculturalism, national and international perspectives. Madam, the floor is yours now. You are the boss of this session now.
Thank you so much. First of all, I'm grateful to MMPC AMU and also very thankful to Professor Abdul Rahim Bijapur sir, because sir आपके ही refresher course के lecture सुनकर हम promote होकर यहाँ तक पहुँचे हैं.
Very good.
I'm very grateful to you, sir. When I was doing refresher course in Jamia Millia Islamia, you delivered a very comprehensive lecture, so I got benefited. So first of all, I am really grateful to you from the core of my heart. And with these words, I would like to come to the topic which was given.
देखिए ये participant से resource person बन गए. This is a promotion, academic promotion.
तो ये यात्रा है.
आप सब लोगों को emulate करना चाहिए. इनके एग्जाम्पल को emulate कर लीजिए ताकि हम नेक्स्ट ईयर के सेशन में आप 200 पार्टिसिपेंट्स में से किसी को रिसोर्स पर्सन बना दें. थैंक यू. कंटिन्यू.
थैंक यू सर. थैंक यू सो मच.
Please mute your mics.
Okay. So, participants, I am really feeling privileged to get this opportunity to interact with you, and that too on such a crucial topic. And it was suggested by Professor Bijapur, multiculturalism, Indian and Western perspectives. So before we delve into what is Indian perspective, what is Western perspective, let us understand what is multiculturalism. Hindi में इसको हम बहुसंस्कृतिवाद कहते हैं. And we all know that in contemporary world, almost all the countries of the world, as Professor Bijapur has rightly pointed out, are multicultural. Means they are having lots of cultural groups staying together. There is nothing called monolithic culture. If you just go through the countries of the world, you would find that this information is correct. Some groups are in minority, some are in majority, some are very small in number, but the reality is that society is multicultural. And as the word itself says, that multi means many, cultural means culture. So understanding the meaning of culture is also very important. So those friends who are sitting here and belong to anthropology, they know better how to define culture and what are the nuances of culture. But here, a very general understanding of culture, I would like to present in front of you, that it's a set of beliefs and practices which passes from one generation to another. You can see.
Yes, we can.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We can see.
Ways of doing things, and traditions are conventions that are transmitted across generations. Now, whenever we talk about culture, we also think about continuity and change. So cultural values change over a period of time. Learning from other cultures, time in other parts of the world. So this is how we see that culture is something which not only has the capacity of being transmitted from across the generations, but it is also something which accepts changes. And this is how we see that if we talk about 50 years old India or 100 years old India and India, which we are living in 2025, there are lots of differences in terms of our food habits, in terms of our dressing style and architecture, so many things. But one thing is very important, that culture is very much related to identity. Most of the time what happens when we talk in a common parlance, we misunderstand sometimes, and it happens because all of us are not very well versed in anthropology or say sociology, and therefore we often understand that ethnic groups, religion, all the national identities, all are the part of our culture. There is no doubt that they overlap with each other, but there are differences also. Like in one nation, maybe people who are living, who come from different ethnicity and different cultural groups. So they may be common when it comes to their culture, it comes to their ethnicity, but at the level of nationalism, they may have different perspectives. So these are the very deeper analysis and understandings of culture. However, now let's talk about multiculturalism. So multiculturalism as a concept, as Sir said in the beginning, that it evolved in the 19th and 20th century, but we all know that if informally we think about it, people's changing places, migrating from one place to another in search of food, a better life, has been a very ancient phenomenon. And therefore, we can see that yes, as a concept in academia, multiculturalism came into existence prominently in 1960s, 70s. But prior to that also, it was existing in the world. So this is how briefly we understand culture and multicultural society. One thing I would like to highlight here, that if a society is multicultural society, it doesn't mean that country follows multiculturalism. There is a difference between the two. Because multicultural society means there are different cultural groups residing, coexisting together. And multiculturalism means that these groups who are culturally diverse, they not only tolerate each other, they not only, maintaining coexistence, but they actually respect each other, and the official existence of these cultural groups are well accepted in that country. So multiculturalism goes beyond these things where we say that we can tolerate. If you are tolerating someone, it means that it carries negative connotation. So respect should be there, and official recognition should be there of different diverse cultural groups. And moreover, if required, they should be given, those who are in smaller in number or say minorities, they should be given some special privileges or treatments. Now, this is the point which makes multiculturalism groups, cultural groups, diverse groups of a particular society. So this is the epicenter where from all debate emanates actually. कुछ लोगों का कहना है कि जो संख्या में कम है, बहुत अल्पसंख्यक हैं, उनको अगर हम कुछ विशेष सुविधाएं देते हैं तो इसमें कोई हर्ज नहीं होना चाहिए. लेकिन एक दूसरा समूह भी है समाज में जो ये कहता है कि नहीं, सबको एक जैसा होना चाहिए, इसमें कोई किसी को कोई अलग से करने की आवश्यकता नहीं है. Now, from this point, we'll try to understand, we'll try to define multiculturalism as a perspective which integrates the people, or it promotes otherness, or it alienates the people. So we all know that identity is very important for us. But identity has, and recognition, it has two, broadly speaking, it has two dimensions. One is the way we look at ourselves. मैं स्वयं को कैसे देखती हूँ? And second one is the way others look at me. Means the way society looks at me. दूसरे लोग मुझे किस तरह से समझते हैं. And this part of recognition has been a driving force behind nationalist movements, because we want to, or people want to get recognized as a nation. Then multiculturalism says that minority groups, indigenous groups, subaltern groups, they should be given recognition. उनकी भी एक पहचान होनी चाहिए, उनकी एक स्वीकृति होनी चाहिए समाज में. So we see that behind all these efforts, the point of identity and recognition play a very important role, and politics of identity plays very crucial role. Politics of recognition plays very crucial role, and that's how we see that if the group which is non-recognized or misrecognized actually or subsequently becomes oppressed group, it suffers a lot, and people of that group actually could not get space in the policy making or other aspects of that particular society. So broadly, the multiculturalism has been classified into three. There are other sub-classifications also. So there's a conservative multiculturalism, where diversity is accepted, but those who are in minority or indigenous groups who are less in number, they are marginalized. Then there is liberal multiculturalism. In liberal multiculturalism, since liberalism says that all are equal and everyone should be treated equally, and therefore that difference is not recognized. So equal treatment does not consist of equity. And therefore, this is the limitation of liberal multiculturalism. However, liberals say that all are equal because human beings are rational beings, and therefore everyone should be treated equally without extending any kind of privileges. Then we see left liberal multiculturalism, who overemphasize cultural differences, that yes, people are culturally different and their differences should be recognized, all these things. Now, succinctly, these are the central themes of multiculturalism, and thereafter we'll start talking about Indian perspective and then a Western one, and debates also which surround this idea of multiculturalism. So the central theme of multiculturalism, as I said in the beginning, that if your society is multicultural, it doesn't mean that the country is following multiculturalism. Because multiculturalism says these things, you can see in the slide, that there should be public affirmation of multiculturalism as an official policy. Then in education also, your curriculum, your pedagogy, school, universities, they should promote and adopt multiculturalism. Means diversity should be taught. The university, academic institutions, schools, colleges, they should be a site of debate and discussions where people coming from diverse cultural groups and cultures be allowed to interact with each other. Only then we can make these academic institutions a site of learning. If a particular dominant group and their ideologies are being propagated, then the society can be anything but a society which is practicing multiculturalism. Additionally, the representation of ethnic minorities in public media or media licensing bodies, Then exemptions from legally required dress codes, as we see that in case of Sikhs, the turban issue, there are countries like UK who allow Sikhs to wear turban despite having stringent, strict laws, traffic laws. And then dual citizenships, other countries have, there are countries who have dual citizens. Then funding of ethnic cultural activities, then provisions of the financing of bilingual or mother tongue education, then affirmative actions for disadvantaged groups. So in short, these are the central themes of multiculturalism. And that is why multiculturalism has been identified as a perspective or as a way for policy making which can accommodate the diversity of a society. And we have talked about it, like what is multiculturalism? Is it moderate or radical idea? Some say that there is a group of people who say multiculturalism is a moderate idea. It integrates people. There are others who say no, it's a radical idea. If you give lots of support or privileges to those who are indigenous groups or minorities, they may promote secessionist activities. Again, there is a debate between universalist ethics and relativist ethics. There are universal values and there are cultural relativism. So these
मैम आपकी वॉइस नहीं आ रही है, आवाज नहीं आ रही।
ये फ्रीज हो गए हैं, फ्रीज हो गए हैं। We will ask her to rejoin, है ना? हम उनको फोन करते हैं कि भैया।
Am I audible?
Yes, yeah.
There was a network problem actually, so I just changed the network. Okay, so about India, when I'll talk about it, because I have to cover everything in a given time. So Indian perspective of multiculturalism, we can understand through two different kind of classification. The one is our thematic understanding of our society, our country, our tradition, everything. And the second approach would be through the Constitution of India. Hello? निकल ही रहे हैं
जी आ रही है।
गाड़ी नहीं है।
आवाज नहीं आ रही सर।
इलाहाबाद जो नेटवर्क का प्रॉब्लम है, इलाहाबाद जो कि नॉर्थ वेस्टर्न फ्रंटियर स्टेट का कैपिटल था, दैट वाज द कैपिटल ऑफ द स्टेट जो ब्रिटिश जमाने में। अब आप इसी से अंदाजा लगाइए कि डेवलपमेंट कैसा हो रहा है देश में। इलाहाबाद यूनिवर्सिटी आई थिंक वाज द फोर्थ यूनिवर्सिटी इन इंडिया।
ऑक्सफोर्ड ऑफ द ईस्ट,
ऑक्सफोर्ड ऑफ द ईस्ट है, लेकिन फोर्थ यूनिवर्सिटी, तीन कलकत्ता, बॉम्बे, मद्रास के बाद में चौथी यूनिवर्सिटी थी। अब वहां का हाल देखिए क्या है। अगर ब्रिटिशर्स कंटिन्यू करते अभी तक तो हाल सुधर जाता, लेकिन अभी हाल पतला है। फ्रेंड्स, ये जब तक रिज्वाइन नहीं करेंगे, लेट मी कंटिन्यू। कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कहीं वर्ड मल्टीकल्चरलिज्म लिखा नहीं है, लेकिन मल्टीकल्चरलिज्म की स्पिरिट इज प्रिवेलेंट इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया, इन द प्रियम्बल। राइट्स, फ्रीडम ऑफ रिलीजन इज वन ऑफ द dimensions of multiculturalism. Every person is free to profess or not to profess any religion. अगर आप नास्तिक भी रहना चाहते हैं रहिए भाई, नास्तिक आप रहिए, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. If you want to believe in a particular religion, believe in the particular religion. We are multi-religious, means religion-based culture. Religion and culture are, interconnected. The way you dress, the food you eat, the festivals you celebrate, these are all part of culture. And these diverse culture has to be protected. एक आपने सुना होगा यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड.
यस सर.
वाले बड़ा हंगामा मचाते हैं, यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड होना चाहिए. अभी जो लॉज हैं, जिसको फैमिली लॉज हम कहते हैं, हिंदू मैरिज लॉ, मुस्लिम मैरिज लॉ, क्रिश्चियन पर्सनल लॉ, ज़ोरास्ट्रियन पर्सनल लॉ, all these laws, marriage, divorce, inheritance, succession, adoption, are based on different religions. That is respect for all the religions. Sarva dharma sama bhava is the spirit which is, running through the Constitution of India. MLA, MP, अगर वोट लेते हैं.
Am I audible?
Yes, please. Please continue.
Sorry, actually there is a network problem here, so that's why.
Go ahead. इलाहाबाद का ये हाल है.
सर यहाँ बारिश बहुत हो रही है ना, इस वजह से.
सर मैं भी 2-3 दिन से यही हूँ.
आप अपना मोबाइल का हॉटस्पॉट यूज कीजिए.
सर वही कनेक्ट कर रही हूँ, कनेक्ट कर रही हूँ.
Because that is the solution. हर प्रॉब्लम का एक सोल्यूशन मिलता है.
अगर यूपी में यही प्रॉब्लम है सर.
हाँ, वो अभी ये देखिए हर शहर के नाम बदल रहे हैं, स्टेट का भी नाम बदलना चाहिए. यूपी शुड बिकम उत्तर प्रदेश.
जी,
योगी जी को सजेशन दीजिए हमारी तरफ से.
हाँ नहीं सर, भेजा जाए.
देखिए एक टर्म है बीमारू. बिहार, मध्य प्रदेश, राजस्थान, यूपी, ये बीमारू स्टेट्स हैं इंडिया में. बीमारू एक जर्नलिस्ट ने टर्म कॉइन किया था. इसको हम हिंदी हार्टलैंड भी कहते हैं, काउ बेल्ट भी कहते हैं. यहाँ पे लोग सीरियस नहीं है, सीरियस होनी चाहिए. अच्छे लोग हैं, बहुत से अच्छे लोग हैं. ये सब लोग एक अच्छी राजनीति, अच्छी शिक्षा का प्रबंध करना चाहिए. अच्छे स्टूडेंट्स को प्रमोट करना चाहिए. हमारे जो फर्स्ट स्पीकर थे आज सुबह के मॉर्निंग के, उन्होंने कहा कि मेरिट शुड बी द क्राइटेरिया. चाहे आप प्रोजेक्ट सैंक्शन कर रहे हैं या रिसर्च स्कॉलर ले रहे हैं, ताल्लुकात, कनेक्शंस, रिकमेंडेशंस, दिस शुड नॉट बी कंसिडरेशंस. अदरवाइज फिर अगर पुअर इंजीनियर है तो ब्रिज गिरेंगे. डॉक्टर का नॉलेज गड़बड़ है. जैसा मैं कहता हूं कि अलीगढ़ मुस्लिम यूनिवर्सिटी के हॉस्पिटल में जाने की गारंटी है, वापस आने की कोई गारंटी नहीं है. आप
I'm really sorry, I'm back.
Okay, you continue. I was just filling in the gap.
I'm sorry, sir. Sorry for this technical glitch.
No problem.
Okay, so I was talking about Indian perspective. As I said, that we can understand by going through the ideas which are present in our society, and we have been practicing also, as said in the beginning, that unity in diversity, peaceful coexistence, cultural exchange. These are the philosophical roots actually, which we see in the philosophies of our great preachers, different religions which are present in India, like we see Hinduism, Sufism, Islam, Jainism, Buddhism. All these religions have been providing us this kind of understanding where we learn to respect people, we learn to respect diversity and peaceful coexistence. We have seen that if we go to a mohalla or a market, we'll find that people coming from diverse cultural groups are supporting each other economically, socially. Even I would like to say here that several times examples are cited in newspapers and other media platforms, despite showing lots of conflicts or religious tensions. We often get that kidneys have been transplant has happened, and one religious group people have given kidney to other religious group. So this kind of compassion we have in our society. This is our societal perspective, and we see that tensions have been there, conflicts have been there, but we have such a strong cultural bond, we have such a strong tradition in our society, that all these things get absorbed and we come up with fresh outlook, and we welcome people coming from every cultural group, social group, or say ethnic group, or indigenous tribal groups, all are welcomed in our society. So this is one perspective. Now there are a perspective which is reflected in the constitution making debate. That debate gives us a perspective which shows the way people coming from diverse groups, diverse cultural groups have been accommodated in Indian society. There are limitations also, and there are certain things which are worth celebrating. But there were challenges also in India. So what were the challenges? We all know that Britishers tried to divide us on the basis of religious differences, or say caste differences, and divide and rule was one of their favorite policies. Am I audible? I think there is no technical issue.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So this was the biggest challenge before India when India became independent in 1947, because on the one hand they tried, all efforts were made to divide India, and there was a group in Britain called Stracheians. They said that such a diverse country like India would not be able to survive in coming future. It was a kind of challenge which was thrown in front of India. So this was a challenge. It was a challenge. Why? Because they had put so much divisions in the society. It took a lot of time to cement those divisions. This was one thing. Secondly, when India became independent and there was an issue of development, then it was understood by developmentalist ideologies who were the proponents of development that these ethno-cultural claims, and this is also the problem of liberalism, and that's why despite feeling very well in the lap of liberalism, multiculturalism has certain tensions with liberalism because of their understanding that all one size fits all. And here also same thing was with India, that the impact of developmentalist ideologies was shown, and therefore to a certain extent the claims of ethno-cultural groups was ignored. Apart from this, there was another debate in India, that nationalist debate, liberal rights debate. So on the one hand, individual rights, the proponents of individual rights were saying that people should be given right. People means whomsoever coming from any cultural or ethnic group should be given rights to right to speech, right to everything which is there in the constitution. On the other hand, there was a nationalist group who said that civic unity and social cohesion should be given priority. So this was again the debate which got synthesized. I would not say that it is something which generated lots of conflict, but yes, it took lots of time to discuss, to understand, and to debate these things, that how to reconcile liberal individual rightist perspective and nationalist perspective. Because when we talk about this nationalist perspective, which has been also emphasized by Will Kamlika, then those who are powerful, those who are large in number, they are given the first claim over the resources of the country. And those who are in minority, those who are smaller in number, as said by Will Kamlika, Kamlika calls them polyethnic groups, and their claim becomes secondary. So this is another debate which was there in India also. So these were the challenges in front of us, and these challenges are still there, because this, how to develop a balance between different groups, is always a challenging task. But if country is following rule of law, if country is for having a single standard for all of the people, then it becomes easier. And therefore we see that Indian Constitution gives us the kind of framework where multiculturalism can be practiced. So the philosophical roots of Indian multiculturalism, we can say, Vasudha Kutumbakam and salad ball theory. In terms of multiculturalism, we can say it's salad ball theory. In terms of Indian knowledge system, we can call it Vasudha Kutumbakam. So once you say Vasudha Kutumbakam, means Sampurna Prithvi Hamara Parivar hai. Vasudha Kutumbakam was also very much highlighted in the G20 presidency when India got it. So when we say Vasudha Kutumbakam means Sari Dhara Hamara Parivar hai, it means in a family, it doesn't mean if in a single family, all the family members are thinking on similar lines, or they all look homogeneous. No, even inside a family or within a family, people have different perspective. They have different orientations. They have different likings. They have different styles of thinking, working, and their behavior patterns are different. Likewise, India is a country and it's a family which considers the entire world, entire dhara as the family. And if this is practiced in reality, if this is reflected in the functioning of the governments, functioning of the decision making of judiciary, or say legislation, then it would be really making India a country which follows multiculturalism in true sense of terms. Likewise, from the Western perspective, if we understand Indian multiculturalism, then Indian multiculturalism is a salad ball theory, which has integrated the people. It has not assimilated the people. Once we assimilate people, it means they lose their identity. And they start acting, they start behaving, they start thinking like the dominant group or dominant culture of that country. In India, what we see look at our festivals, or we all are teachers. If we go through our holiday list, we'll find that we celebrate all the festivals in this country. If you go to a city, you go to a village, you will find people coming from different religious groups. Even within a religion, there are lots of subsets, subgroups. They all are existing together. Despite having certain aberrations or tensions, the country has moved on. So this is Indian understanding of multiculturalism, the philosophical aspect, where I said our Mahatma Gandhi, Rabindranath Tagore, Vivekanand, their teaching, Dr. Ambedkar, their teachings, if we read, then we will find how great our multicultural values are, and the way it has been propounded by them is also very unique. Now, apart from these things, let's have a brief understanding of Constituent Assembly debate. So you can say, you can see here that when the issue was debated in the Constituent Assembly, and it was discussed that how to accommodate the diverse groups of India, then there were basically before independence, there were three groups, three kinds of group. One was religious minorities, then scheduled caste minorities, and then backward tribes. So all these were given a kind of safeguard in British and princely states. Different kind of safeguards were given. But when there was an effort to officially categorize these groups, then untouchables were moved from the purview of the term minority, and they were very much put in the fold of Hindu community. As you can say, the Constitutional Assembly debate, volume 5, 227 page, that's why I have put it here, and K.N. Munshi has said it, that the term minority was narrowly to exclude the scheduled caste from its ambit, and it was confined to because scheduled castes were included in the Hindu group. Now, what happened on the basis of 1949 Constitutional Assembly debate, the term backward became an idea to denote a group's entitlement to special treatments, and therefore the quotas for religious minorities were sought to establish that there were backward people among Muslims, Christian, and Sikhs. We also see today that there are backward Muslims, there are backward Christians, and the backward Sikhs. So this is how, in the Constituent Assembly debate, there was an effort to define, to categorize, and to integrate minorities, because pre-independence India was having different kind of understanding of minority, and post-independent India took a different kind of understanding. So in brief, you can see here, in short, we can see it here. And if you are interested, please read these Constituent Assembly debates so you can get broader understanding about the things. Now, apart from this, what happened, that apart from giving these, development and all these things, what happened, religious freedom was given, family laws were enunciated, and moreover, one thing which has been again in India given rise to a sort of debate is the Uniform Civil Code debate. So it was considered that in future legal unification would be done. Now the debate about Uniform Civil Code is, and this is a topic which is much debated, so I'm sure that all of you must have read about it, its pros and cons. So there are two things, whether it's a legal unification or it's an imposition of majority views on minorities. These are two dimensions to understand this Uniform Civil Code. So that's why this has been very much debated. Now, there are scholars in India who say that in India, there is a kind of departure from the standard liberal position, because groups were recognized as subjects of rights and entitlements as well as individuals. So Mahajan and Bhargava, they are political scientists, they have given these perspectives. And likewise, we see that there are scholars like Ashish Nandi and others, they have also highlighted that in India, apart from this constitutional or say legal implementation of multiculturalism, if society is promoted or social maturity is seen, then we can make a better understanding or better implementation of multiculturalism. Because if it is a bottom-up approach, if you make a law and you implement it, we have lots of laws in our society which are very good, wonderfully framed, but unfortunately they are not followed. So what they argue, that even if you make society, you make laws which are promoting multiculturalism, and you give support to indigenous group, tribal groups, or minority groups, but if society does not accept it, that would be a lacuna. And therefore, efforts should be made through education, through awareness, to make people understand the importance of multiculturalism. So, succinctly, Indian debates on multiculturalism illustrate these three things which I have put here. The first one is that the liberal framework of multiculturalism, which says that one size fits all, means equality equally, everyone should be treated equally. Indian multiculturalism illustrates that there is an insufficiency in liberal understanding of multiculturalism, and therefore, apart from treating people equal or say equality, there is a need for equity, there is a need for providing differential treatment or say some privileges to the minorities of the country. And India has done this because minority institutions are there, other minority support system is there, fellowships are there. So this is how India has has drawn a fine balance between the Western understanding of multiculturalism and India's own understanding of multiculturalism. Now, apart from these highlighting the insufficiency of liberalism, we also see that Indian multiculturalism has incorporated individual rights and in equal citizenship on the one hand, and nationalist concerns regarding political unity and social cohesion on the other. So Indian multicultural debate, as we have discussed so far, has also tried to develop a balance between individualism or individual right and also nationalism or say nationalist perspective. So this is also a unique feature of Indian multiculturalism. And apart from this, Indian multiculturalism has also its experiences have illustrate that institutional heterogeneity is not a problem. It can be a source of strength. Institutional heterogeneity means we have social institutions, we have political institutions, we have economic institutions. So if there is heterogeneity in these institutions, like there are different family laws in India, and every cultural group follows their own system, social system. Again, we see that as a Indian Constitution also provides a space for minority institutions. Then we have several commissions which promote women, tribal groups and all. So one thing which is I would like to mention here, that in its classical form, multiculturalism talked about relationship between diverse cultural groups. Now, as this debate has evolved, it has also started debating intra-group issues. So not only inter-group issues are being discussed, intra-group issues are also being discussed. And therefore, we see that it's no longer the adjustment between diverse cultural groups. It also talks about intra-group justice, the way women of a society are being, of a cultural group are being treated, PWD people and their safety, then subgroup or say subsets of that cultural group, what kind of treatment are they given is also a crucial dimension of today's multiculturalism. So as said, Ashish Nandi and Partha Chatterjee, they have given a post-colonial understanding of Indian multiculturalism. And I would not like to speak much about it, otherwise I would miss that Western perspective, which is also required here. So the main challenge for multiculturalism in India has been the failure of policymakers to elaborate normative ideological resources for the justification of multicultural rights. What happens when we try to give certain support or certain privileges to those groups who have not been the part of mainstream society, then there is an opposition from the society also, because we all know that politics is all about the allocation of values, as David Easton said. So these resources are limited, physical resources are limited, positions are limited. So whenever a country tries to give something, special to particular group because they want to empower them, then it is opposed from the society. And those who are opposing, they do not understand that those groups who are in majority, or say those who are powerful groups, they automatically get lots of representation in each and every aspect of a country. Because if you go to a school, what happens? We start our day with Saraswati Vandana in most of the schools, and children coming from diverse religious group, they also know. I have lots of friends who are Muslims, who are Christians, who are Sikhs, but they all know Saraswati Vandana. They all sing well. They all know Hanuman Chalisa. I know many people. So automatically it happens. Automatically the people who are in majority, they celebrate more festivals. They have more holidays. And this is how we see that if a special effort is made to give something to the people, then those who are in minority, or say indigenous group who are not well recognized, it is questioned by certain group of people. And therefore it is the responsibility of the policy maker to elaborate on it, to make them understand that, see, these are the things which are being enjoyed by the people who are in the mainstream, who are controlling everything, or who are commanding, not because they have done something special, because they are large in number. Especially in democracies, what happens? Democracy runs on the basis of number. So all those who are large in number, they automatically become important, crucial to the political parties and policy makers. And therefore it becomes the responsibility of a state or a leader once elected. This is the beauty of democracy also, that once a leader is elected, he or she is not a member of a political party. He or she becomes a person who is holding a position. So the responsibility of that person is, and here lies the difference between democracy and monarchy or dictatorship. Because in monarchy or in dictatorship, those who are supporting to the ruler are the beneficiaries, and people are not able to question the monarch or the dictator. But in democracy, the beauty of democracy is that once elected, a person is supposed to serve both those who have voted for and those who have voted against him or her. Because in democracy, opposition is equally important. And this is how democracy is different from other forms of government. Despite having lots of limitations, lots of problems, this democratic system is beautiful, and it is celebrated because it gives space to the voices which are dissenting voices. And dissenting voices give us, a challenge, or they show us a path to improve ourselves as a leader, as a policy maker. So these have been the challenges also of Indian multiculturalism, despite having lots of Ganga Yamuni Tehzeeb and celebrations of our diversity. We are known for our diversity, but these are the limitations. And this division of the country, the partition of the country in 1947, also continues to affect the country till date. So you can ponder over, you can think about it, you can come up with your interpretation. I would stop here. You can see here the constitutional provisions. We have Article 25, Article 26, Article 27, 28, 29, where our constitution provides space officially to the minorities of the countries or the religious groups of the countries. And that's why I said that India is a unique country. India is a beautiful country despite having tensions and problems, because ultimately we have a constitution, we have a document which strengthens our spirit of diversity. So let's come to the Western perspective of understanding. Western perspective of multiculturalism, as I said, that it more or less initially it was liberal multiculturalism, and liberal multiculturalism says Will Kamlika is one of the prominent scholars of the multiculturalism, and he says that a culture or a society has two groups. So one is the group which is the real inhabitant of that society, and others are the people who have migrated to that country. So those who are migrated, by Will Kamlika calls them polyethnic state. These are the two books written by Kamlika. You can read them if you are interested. Liberalism, Community and Culture, and second one is Multicultural Citizenship. Now, Will Kamlika supports differential treatment, means minority should be given some extra privileges. Then he also emphasizes that culture matters. Now, Kamlika's classification of minorities is national minorities and ethnic minorities. So national minorities are basically, according to Kamlika, indigenous people and regional groups. And since they are indigenous and regional groups of that society, they have much stronger rights over the resources and policies of the country. And ethnic minorities means those who are immigrant groups. They have chosen deliberately to become the part of a new society, and therefore their enlightenments become weaker. So Kamlika calls it polyethnic rights. According to Kamlika, those who are liberals, they should not prevent illiberal nations from maintaining their societal cultures, but they should promote the liberalization of these cultures. This Kamlika's book is a wonderful book. You read it. It has many limitations, and therefore Kamlika has been questioned by other scholars. So these are the core ideas put forward by Will Kamlika when he defines multiculturalism, and he tries to tell us how to implement multiculturalism in a society. Now, this world has got diversified because the immigration, because of globalization. So before the Second World War, the diversity was basically religious diversity. Countries were religious, the groups were there. Now what is happening, that this religious diversity is changing towards migrants, and this migrants made immigrants diversity is increasing in all the countries, because people are migrating from one place to another. They are not going to a place because they are forced, or they have better because their host, country of origin is pushing them to go there, because there is a famine or there is something natural disaster or something like that. They are willingly going to other countries because they want to earn more, because they want to stay and live there. So this kind of migration has increased. Since people are well aware and they are migrating to a country, and we also have UN conventions for the migrant people, and they are being joined by indigenous people, so that diversity has taken a different kind of shape. And therefore we see that the diversity, which was initially in terms of religious diversity, has become ethnic diversity, or say country-wise diversity, people coming from different countries living in other country. So again, the level of diversity is increasing, or it has been increasing with each passing day. So rapid flow of information, technological advancement, global economy, all these things have promoted diversity. Now, there are scholars who say that globalization has promoted culturally homogenizing processes. Like Fukuyama, Tomlinson, they are the ones who say that globalization has promoted homogenization. But there are scholars like Scholte, they say that it has forced greater diversity, or it has generated hybrid norms of culture. So there are hybrid cultures which are being promoted because of globalization. And there are scholars like Samuel P. Huntington, whose famous work is Clash of Civilization. He says that homogenization has provoked cultural reactions, and therefore these cultures are always in tension, and we should not talk about multiculturalism, because Huntington is a scholar who has opposed this idea of multiculturalism. And the response to Huntington has been given, Huntington has been responded by Nobel laureate Amartya Sen in his book, I think, Identity and Violence, if I am correct. So Amartya Sen says that Huntington is mistaken on a point where he says that cultures are monolithic in nature. He says that, he means Amartya Sen says that at one point of time, a single individual lives with multiple identities. For instance, a person may like Western music, or say may like Punjabi music, continental food, or she can be vegan also. Then Indian dress, or a person who is wearing dhoti kurta may like jazz music. So at one point of time, you may like Russian novel. So people live with multiple identities. Therefore, presuming that cultures are monolithic is a kind of flaw. And Amartya Sen has actually negated Huntington's entire philosophy. In short, this much I would just I'll speak here. I have spoken here. Now you can read these books and get the better understanding of these themes. Now, this we have talked. So the debate which is at the heart of multiculturalism is universal ethics and cultural relativism. So this liberal or say Western understanding of multiculturalism promoted certain moral rules, and it said that rules should be binding all human beings, and there is no space for particular cultures. So what universal ethics propounded by Western multiculturalism is actually, universal ethics says, if you follow human right, you treat everyone equally. If you believe in justice, then you give justice to everyone. If a country is following rule of law, then every member is treated equally. And if these concepts, these values are followed by a state or a country, then there is no need to give space to a particular culture or cultural norms, because according to Western dominant notion of multiculturalism, these smaller cultures, those who are not liberal in nature, they promote barbarism, or they are uncivilized. As we all all know about this white man's burden and all these things. So this universal is universal against this universal ethics of multiculturalism. Cultural relativism came into existence. So what is this cultural relativism? Universal value says that there is nothing which goes beyond the universal values. So you should not talk about a smaller culture, their norms, their values. You follow human right, you follow this rule of law, you follow liberal values, and everything will be okay. And therefore, cultural relativism says that there is nothing called universal value, and every culture has its own morality. Every culture has its own unique standards of truth and moral rightness. And therefore, all the cultures are equal in moral and intellectual status. Here you see, this idea of cultural relativism seems very attractive initially, as the value of universal ethics seems very attractive. Once we say that, yes, treat everyone equally. I come to a classroom, I distribute reading material in a particular language. So I practiced equality, because everyone, every single student sitting in that classroom was given same reading material. But what happens actually? Those who are well versed in that language, they will understand it better. Those who have access to a translator, they can understand that reading material. But what about those who neither understand that language nor have access to a translator? For them, it becomes a very challenging task. So this is the limitation of universal value. Now, cultural relativists say that since all cultures are unique in themselves, they have their own moral standards, they have their own intellectual status, and therefore there is no need to talk about all these things, because cultures have their own validity. They have their own standards to validate themselves. So they say that there are ethical cultural relativism and cognitive cultural relativism. So ethical cultural relativism talks about moral values, codes, and other things, whereas cognitive cultural relativism says that not only morality or ethics are culture specific, but rationality and reasonableness and truth are also culturally relative. So you can see here that cultural relativists say there is nothing beyond the culture. Everything is in the culture, and cultural standards are the final truth. So both, in a way, both becomes dictator. Now, cultural relativism came into existence, as I said, that those who were universalists, they said that other culture or alien cultures are inferior, immoral, irrational, because they have violated universal cultural norms. And what are those universal norms? These are universal principles of universal ethics, like human rights, like rule of law, like equality, liberty, justice, all these things. Therefore, we see that this counter-enlightenment movement led by J.G. Herder, he says that culture, rather than shared humanity, that really makes us who we are. So shared humanity is not important. Culture is important. And on the same lines, modern cultural anthropologists have also questioned these universal values, and they have said that primitive non-Western cultures are inferior to advanced Western societies. This kind of judgment should not be accepted. So this is, in short, the idea of cultural relativism. Now, what is the problem with cultural relativism? The problem with cultural relativism is that they forget the problem which is there in the group, in the culture. Maybe there is a culture who promotes honor killing. There is a cultural group which promotes cannibalism. So can we support all these things? Because people from the outside should not question them, and whatever their standards are there, these standards should be, they are the ultimate truth. So this is the limitation of a cultural relativism. So there is a debate. Multiculturalism is not something which is, you can say that yes, this is absolutely right or this is absolutely wrong. Actually, this idea is being debated academically, and in practice also you can see that countries like Canada, Australia, and other countries of the world, they have followed these multicultural policies as far as it was possible for them. Now, the another perspective to understand multiculturalism is postmodernism. Postmodernism has questioned these meta narratives, and they say that these liberal principle of reason actually and truth is a kind of misconceptions, but because there are multiple truths, there are small things, micro narratives which are important to understand a culture. And therefore this postmodern perspective to multiculturalism gives us another kind of approach to understand a multicultural society where trivials are being celebrated. So these meta narratives or grand narratives of liberalism, Marxism, and modern science, it has been refused by postmodernism, and they say that focus on trivial, focus on the plurality, fragmented knowledge is not something which is ultimate truth. It is fragmented in nature and it should be explored. So, as I told while discussing many things, that liberalism has its own problems, and I would again say that multiculturalism feels very comfortable with liberalism, but there are tensions also. So, what are these tensions? The tensions are that liberalism says there should not be any privilege for certain classes of people and no arbitrary disqualifications. So everyone should be treated equal. It sounds good, it sounds beautiful, but actually it is in practice, it creates lots of problems. Then liberal groups also equate group rights with collective rights. There is a difference between the two. Group rights are the rights who fight against discrimination and all, whereas collective rights are the rights which are permanent, and it's a kind of cultural preservation. They are stronger one. People want to live with that those rights, so they equate both. And the last one is that whenever it is called that they should take into account cultural and ethnic particularities in political debate and thinking, then they become uncomfortable because they have their own parameters, they have their own understanding. So this is the area where liberalism is at tension with multiculturalism, or say multiculturalism or liberalism have certain sort of tensions. Now, these are the problems with cultural relativism. So you can see here, I have also just said that intra-group problems are not discussed in cultural relativism. And therefore, we see that the principle of a universal ethics says that other cultures are inferior, and the cultural relativists say, or they assert, that cultures can do no wrong. So in their final shape, both promote a kind of totalitarianism or dictatorship where individuals or people emerge as sufferers. And therefore, there is a third understanding of multiculturalism, which appears more convincing, is human capabilities understanding. So here, Indian and Western, both perspectives get merged together, because Amartya Sen has also explored this human capability, and Martha Nussbaum also talk about it. So what they say basically, the central idea of human capability is that people should be given a kind of scenario, a kind of environment where they can realize their potential, being and doing. What do you want to do and what you want to be? So it's a kind of balance between ethical universalism and cultural relativism. So Nussbaum has provided 10 points. What are these 10 points? And then we will understand that how this multiculturalism, what should be the parameter to implement multiculturalism in a country. Then you would find that all these debates get a new direction. This perspective of human capability gives you. So people's bodily health should be good. Their bodily integrity. My body, I am the owner. Then imagination and thought. You should be free to think. You should be free to imagine. Your imagination or your thinking should not be controlled by your fellow citizens or the party in power, or say the political bosses of your country. You should be free to imagine. You should be free to think. Then emotions. Your emotions should not be controlled. For instance, men don't cry. So you are controlling your emotions, because society says that according to gender rules, a man cannot cry or he should not cry. Otherwise, his masculinity would be questioned. So emotions should be given proper vent. Then practical reason. You should have reason to understand the things. You should have reason to look at the institutions of the society. Then affiliation. Your friends, your relatives, your country, your society. You should have a very good affiliation with them. You should not be someone who feels isolated or who does not want to become a part of the country. You should feel the country should function in a way that people feel affiliated to that country, the policy, the state. The relations with other species. The list is so comprehensive that it not only talks about human of the society, but it also talks about your flora, fauna, animals of your society, a kind of ecology, ecosystem, which is good for our health and which gives us a very good ambience actually. Then your health, your play, all are the part of your human capability. Then control over one's environment. One's environment means political environment, your cultural environment, your social environment, and this is something which is directly related to our mental health. So this is the list, which is not a very strict list. It can, as Martha Nussbaum says, that this is not something very strictly written list. It is flexible. Things can be added to this list. So here we see that how to treat people, how to give them a society or an ambience where they can realize their capacities should be the parameter of the implementation of multiculturalism. So this is another perspective which balances actually ethical universalism and also gives a space to the culture specific norms and values. So this list is here also, you can see again. Now, there are liberal critics of cultural rights. So Bran Barry says that equal treatment is not acceptable. Then Susan Okin says that this Western perspective of multiculturalism does not talk about feminist concerns. And that's why I said that initially, before these critiques came into this multiculturalism was between the groups. Now it also talks about intra-groups problem. And this Susan Okin's critique actually points out towards this aspect. Then Alet Satcher, he says that cultural options are very important. So how to make these multiple identities the part of joint governance process. He provides a structure, a perspective to develop joint governance process so that indigenous group, minorities, they feel affiliated and they become the part of the functioning of the state or the country. So assimilation and integration we have talked. So cultural assimilation means people culturally get assimilated to the dominant group, then structural assimilation, then biological assimilation, which is the highest version where physical characteristics get blended. Then integration, we know that people become the part of a society, but they maintain their independent existence also. So in such a short span of time, I tried to touch upon so many things of multiculturalism, Indian perspective, Western perspective, and also a perspective which tries to merge universal ethics and cultural relativism. So with these words, I stop here and we have, I think, 10 minutes, Narhan, for discussion.
Thank you,
Thank you, ma'am.
Niharika ji.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think you should switch on your
Yeah,
camera.
sir, there is a network
Camera.
problem. That's why I turned off the camera.
Because you see, in the traditional classroom teaching,
Yeah.
eye contact also is a very important part of pedagogy.
So I just
Friends,
tried to check.
friends, we had a scholarly discussion on the idea of multiculturalism or the theory of multiculturalism. She started from Will Kimlicka to cited many authors. देखिए, इंडिया हमेशा से मल्टीकल्चरल रहा है. Much before the word or phrase became popular in the West nowadays. मैं आपको कई उदाहरण देता हूं. एक उदाहरण ये है, one example is this. You know, in most of Europe, there is only one calendar, Gregorian calendar. Do you know in India, we have 30 calendars. India में 30 calendars हैं, 30 calendars. बंगाली कैलेंडर अलग है, तेलुगु कैलेंडर अलग है, कन्नड़ा कैलेंडर अलग है, उड़िया कैलेंडर अलग है, और विक्रमादित्य का कैलेंडर अलग है, विक्रम कैलेंडर. We have Saka calendar that is accepted by Indian government. Muslim calendar, बुद्धिस्ट और जैन कैलेंडर्स. पारसियों का कैलेंडर अलग है. पारसियों का शहनशाही, इट इज नोन एज शहनशाही कैलेंडर. सी लुक एट द डाइवर्सिटी. अगर आप इस फिलॉसफी पे चलेंगे, वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन, वन नेशन वन टैक्स, तो देन दिस डाइवर्सिटी विल बी डिस्टर्ब्ड. आप दो युगों को कंपेयर कीजिए. कंपेयर टू पीरियड्स इन इंडियन हिस्ट्री. लुक एट अकबर द ग्रेट, who had नवरत्ना, 9 मिनिस्टर्स. 9 में से 4 मिनिस्टर्स मुस्लिम थे, 5 मिनिस्टर हिंदू थे. कैन यू इमेजिन? अकबर वाज मोर सेक्युलर देन द प्रेजेंट विश्व गुरु और प्रधान सेवक इन इंडिया. अभी आपको मुस्लिम मिनिस्टर नहीं मिलेंगे, मुस्लिम बीजेपी की तरफ से मुस्लिम एमपीज नहीं मिलेंगे. यू नो दैट इज एक्सक्लूजन. 75 साल की जो इंडिया की हिस्ट्री है, only one home minister, Muslim home minister was there during Mr. VP Singh's tenure. फिर कभी मुस्लिम होम मिनिस्टर नहीं बना because the majority doubts Muslims देशभक्ति. You know that is the tragedy. अलीगढ़ मुस्लिम यूनिवर्सिटी में जब भी कोई फंक्शन होता है, the function starts with recitation from the Holy Quran. Okay, it's good. हिंदू इंस्टीट्यूशन में जब कोई प्रोग्राम होता है, यू नो, लाइटनिंग ऑफ लैम्प स्टार्ट्स विथ लाइटनिंग ऑफ लैम्प्स. So these are the cultural traditions. Now when I visit my hometown Bijapur in Karnataka, I was invited to deliver a lecture in a Muslim college. वहां पे भी रिसाइटेशन हुआ होली कुरान का. Immediately after the recitation of Holy Quran, verses from Gita were recited. Look how secular we are compared to North Indian Muslims. North Indian Muslims are, you know, not respecting the majoritarian religion, which should not be there. We have to respect, you know, diversity in terms of maintaining linguistic diversity. हम रिलीजियस डाइवर्सिटी है, कल्चरल डाइवर्सिटी है, लिंग्विस्टिक डाइवर्सिटी भी है. अब गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की 2 लैंग्वेजेस हैं, हिंदी एंड इंग्लिश. जब हमारे पास यूपी में बिल आता है इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का, एवरीथिंग इज इन हिंदी, 100% इज हिंदी. पीपल लाइक मी, साउथ इंडियंस कैन नॉट अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज रिटन इन दैट. LIC का कोई कागज आता है पूरा हिंदी में. भाई, व्हाई कांट यू हैव इन बोथ द लैंग्वेजेस, हिंदी एंड इंग्लिश? लुक एट कनाडा. वहां पे फ्रेंच में भी होता है, इंग्लिश में भी होता है, दोनों लैंग्वेज में. यहाँ पे भी, यू नो, वी हैव टू एनकरेज द यूज ऑफ बोथ द ऑफिशियल लैंग्वेजेस फॉर इंडिया. फॉर स्टेट यू कैन हैव रीजनल लैंग्वेज, हिंदी, इंग्लिश. दैट थ्री लैंग्वेज फॉर्मूला. अकबर के होम मिनिस्टर राजा मानसिंह जी थे, राजा टोडरमल थे, बीरबल थे, तानसेन थे. As I said, 5 ministers were from Hindu community and 4 were from Muslim community. Now the idea was not to respect majoritarian, the idea was to respect the talent. You know, the gems, Navratna, वो gems थे, they were gems, they were meritorious people. Merit was the criteria. Merit can be in the person of any community, any religion, any region, any language. With these few general remarks on the idea of, you know, multiculturalism in India, salad ball model was discussed by, you know, your resource person निहारिका जी. एक और उसका एक अल्टरनेटिव दूसरा नाम भी है, bouquet model.
bouquet model.
That
Yes.
is, bouquet model is Indian model. जिस तरह से अलग अलग फूलों का गुलदस्ता बनता है, अगर उसको अलग अलग करेंगे तो अलग अलग कलर, अलग अलग फ्रेग्रेंस होगा. जब एक साथ होंगे, इकट्ठा रखेंगे, तो एक ब्यूटीफुल गुलदस्ता बन जाता है. तो इंडिया इज लाइक दैट. दैट काइंड ऑफ आइडिया ऑफ इंडिया नीड्स टू बी प्रोटेक्टेड. एंड ये जो यूनिफॉर्मिटी जो लाने की बात हो रही है, यूनिफॉर्मिटी is not good. Nowadays, we are not talking about uniform civil code. We are talking about gender justice in every religion-based
Yes.
family laws.
Intra-group.
Every, you can learn from each other's good points. For example, in 1978, Hindu Marriage Act was amended. And that amendment का idea Muslim marriage law से लिया, Sharia से लिया. What was that? म्यूचुअल कंसेंट फॉर डाइवर्स. क्योंकि डाइवर्स का प्रोसीडिंग्स बड़ा लंबा चलता था हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट के तहत. 3 साल के बाद कोर्ट देगा जुडिशियल सेपरेशन, 7 साल के अंदर फैसला आएगा फाइनल कि भैया डाइवर्स हो गया. जब तक डाइवर्स नहीं होगा तो आप दूसरी शादी नहीं कर सकते हैं. बोथ दी स्पोजेस आर मेंटली टॉर्चर्ड. In Islamic law, marriage is a contract. Contract can be terminated by either of the parties. तो mutual consent of जो divorce का जो concept का idea है, that is actually taken from Islamic law and incorporated into Hindu law. The best practices, the best customs, the best food cuisine can be emulated. अब जब बिरयानी बनती है तो मुस्लिम भी एंजॉय करता है, हिंदू भी एंजॉय करता है. एवरीबडी इज एंजॉयिंग बिरयानी. अरे भाई ये बिरयानी मुस्लिम कल्चर का है, इसको मत खाइए. दैट काइंड ऑफ पैरोकिलिज्म शुड नॉट बी exhibited by us. The beauty of India lies in its diversity. Friends, with these few remarks, I now invite questions. We are every day we are exceeding by 10-15 minutes. We will continue if there are questions up to.
I can see Dr. Akanksha wants to say something. Dr.
Akanksha ji, kuch.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Dr. Akanksha. Thank you for such an insightful lecture, ma'am. I have been brought up and born in Allahabad only. So my question is that if India supports multiculturalism, then why in some states for recruitment, they have compulsion to know the local language? For example, if we want to fill the form of Odisha for assistant professor, we should have a high school in Odia language. For Punjab, we have to fill the form, then we have to have high school in Punjabi language. So why are there so much language barriers in India?
Okay,
ऐसा रूल है नहीं, ऐसा रूल नहीं है. IAS ऑफिसर कहीं भी किसी भी स्टेट का किसी भी लैंग्वेज का कहीं भी पोस्टिंग होता है. And knowing the language of the state is important because the administration is in that local language. वो IAS ऑफिसर भी सीख जाता है 10 साल के अंदर वहाँ का लोकल लैंग्वेज.
It's mandatory to complete the preparation.
Okay.
So mandatory sir, for assistant professor form. Sometimes when I was going to fill the form of Gujarat, then it was difficult for me to fill the form because the form was in Gujarati language, and secondly, there was a compulsion to have high school in Gujarati language and Punjab for Punjabi language. So
Yes.
language barriers are there.
Yeah, Dr. Akanksha, I understand your question, and it is again the debate which I discussed during my lecture: universal ethics versus cultural relativism, and the solution lies in between. So, for a state which is predominantly Odia speaking or Gujarati speaking or say Tamil speaking, for their children or their students, it is important that the teacher or instructor should know that language. This is one dimension. The another thing is that since we are divided in 29 states for administrative convenience, and we all are Indians also. So one thing which is required and should be there, that English and Odia, English and Gujarati, English and Tamil, this kind of provision should be there in the application form. This is personally my observation on your question, because yes, if someone wants to go and apply there, then his or her need should be taken care of, and the need of the students who are being catered should also be taken care of. Because if you go there and speak in Hindi or speak in English, and the child who belongs to typically Uriya speaking family, he would not be able to understand. In Allahabad University, in my department, many faculties have come from Hyderabad, from Kerala and Odisha. So they all speak English, they all know Uriya. Now they are learning Hindi also, and they are speaking Hindi. So this is called a way, if you respect multiculturalism and diversity, over a period of time you learn. But you should be given that opportunity to learn. Because if you come with Hindi and English in a Odia state, it is the opportunity that because you knew Hindi, you knew English, you were given that opportunity. But you should learn Odia also, so that you can cater the need of that state.
देखिए डॉक्टर आकांक्षा जी, in the primary school system, education according to Indian Constitution Article 350A, the primary education has to be given in one's own mother tongue. ये constitutional requirement है, mother tongue. Education has to be in mother tongue. It means in Karnataka only Kannada speaking, because the medium of instruction is regional language. You from another state having your different mother tongue cannot become school teacher or even the college teacher, because lectures are delivered in regional language. Only in the central university, as our resource person pointed out, in Allahabad, where people from Karnataka, Kerala, or different places are there, because the medium of instruction in most of the central universities is in English. That matters. So those things I think you have to keep in mind. And higher education in UP, in the state universities, in UP, in the state universities, in Odisha, in the state universities, teachers deliver lecture in their local language.
Yes.
Students write the answers in local language.
Yes.
Evaluation has to, for example, I declined to accept PhD thesis written in Hindi because I am a South Indian. I know Hindi very well, but I am not that expert. I don't want to take much headache, because reading, many people don't read PhD thesis and just give marks by reading preface, table of contents, abstract. But I am a serious fellow. I read everything. Like a book review, my report on PhD thesis is like a book review. I provide critique. Criticisms are also there. That is why you have to have, multiple models of education. Mother tongue is very important. I cannot go and teach in Punjab because Punjabi language is there. In Central University Punjab, I can go there as a teacher, where the medium of instruction is English. So these are there are a lot of complications in the multicultural society. Yes. Any other question, friends?
Dr. Sanjay
Kumar.
Sanjay ji. Dr. Sanjay.
म्यूट है, अनम्यूट कर लीजिए.
ब्रॉडर पर्सपेक्टिव में बात करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. एक्चुअली देखते हैं फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर और सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर के पीरियड में जो कल्चरल ब्रॉडर पर्सपेक्टिव है, नेशनलिटी, तो नेशनल लिबरेशन स्ट्रगल्स होते हैं जो नेशनलिटीज के और वो कॉलोनियल फ्रेमवर्क से बाहर आते हैं. कल्चर एक ब्रॉडर फ्रेमवर्क में हम जब देखते हैं तो अभी रिलेटिवली रिलीजन को कल्चर को रिलीजन ने रिप्लेस कर दिया है. और जब कल्चरल डिस्कोर्स की जब हम बात कर रहे हैं तो असल में वो रिलीजियस डिस्कोर्स हो जा रहा है. इवन आफ्टर सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर इन इवन आवर कंट्री there were lots of nationality struggles in northeast, in Kashmir, or in world. Sri Lanka was major center of nationality struggles, but after 90s ये सारे nationality struggles कमजोर हुए और जनरली इनको रिलीजियस लाइन पे डिवाइड कर दिया गया. चाहे वो कश्मीर का स्ट्रगल हो, चाहे वो नॉर्थ ईस्ट का हो। लिट्टे को तो बाकायदे श्रीलंका में तमिलियंस के स्ट्रगल्स को स्मैश कर दिया गया। तो ये जो शिफ्टिंग है कि पहले नेशनलिटी का ब्रॉडर पर्सपेक्टिव कल्चर के डिस्कोर्स में आता है, क्योंकि कल्चर को ब्रॉडर पर्सपेक्टिव में हम नेशनलिटी के फॉर्म में देखते थे। नेशनलिटी केवल कल्चर नहीं है, उनका प्रोडक्शन, उनका मोड ऑफ प्रोडक्शन, ये सारा हमने सारी चीजें नेशनलिटी में देखते थे। बाद में ये कल्चर के पर्सपेक्टिव में डिस्कस होना शुरू होता है और ये और सीमित होकर अब ये रिलीजियस डिस्कोर्स में तब्दील हो जाता है। तो हम ये पूरे जो एक मोशन है नेशनलिटी टू रिलीजन, रिलीजियस डिस्कोर्स, इसको हमें कैसे देखना चाहिए?
देखिए आप हम चाहे नेशनैलिटी की बात करें, कल्चर से आपने कहा कि नेशन से हम कल्चर पे आए और कल्चर से हम धर्म पर आ गए, बिल्कुल ठीक है। लेकिन आप ये प्रश्न ये अधूरा रह जाता है हर स्तर पर कि इसमें इंसान को हमने कहाँ रखा। प्रश्न यही अधूरा रह जाता है। हम बहुत बड़ा राष्ट्र बना लें और उसमें इंसानों की कोई जगह ना हो, सिर्फ कुछ लोग हैं जो अपना दम्भ भरते रहें। हम बहुत अच्छी संस्कृति की बात करें, जो वो संस्कृति उन्हीं लोगों की हो जो शक्तिशाली हैं, बाकी नैरेटिव्स की बाकी लोगों के लिए कोई जगह ना हो। फिर हम धर्म पर आ जाएं और धर्म की समझ गलत है। अगर हम धर्म की बात करते हैं, हर धर्म भाईचारे की बात करता है, हर धर्म मानवता की बात करता है, पशुओं के प्रति दया की बात करता है, पर्यावरण की बात करता है, जो हम लोग एनवायरमेंटलिज्म में पढ़ते हैं या ह्यूमन राइट में पढ़ते हैं। प्रॉब्लम कहाँ पे आती है और कहाँ पर ये चीजें खराब हो जाती हैं? जब आप एक धर्म को मानते हैं तो आपको लगता है कि बाकी के जो 99 है वो सब खराब हैं और उस एक को बचाने के लिए आप 99 के साथ कुछ भी कर सकते हैं। लेकिन जब आप मानवता की बात करते हैं तो आप ये नहीं देखते कि कौन किस धर्म से आ रहा है, तब आप ह्यूमैनिटी और मानवता की बात कर रहे होते हैं। इस वजह से धर्म संकीर्ण हो जाता है और मानवता व्यापक हो जाती है। हम अपने धर्म को बचाने के लिए दूसरे के धर्म के लोगों को मार देते हैं, लेकिन मानवता को बचाने के लिए आप मानव को मारेंगे तो मानवता नहीं बचेगी। तो प्रॉब्लम यहाँ पर ये है कि हमारा जो इंटरेस्ट है, और खासकर जो पॉलिटिकल एलीट किसी भी कंट्री का होता है, अगर वो डेमोक्रेटिक सोसाइटी है तो पॉलिटिकल एलीट बेसिकली वही बनता है जिसको जनता सपोर्ट करके भेज रही होती है। अब उसके बीच में जितने परम्यूटेशंस, कॉम्बिनेशंस और मैनिपुलेशंस आते हैं वो आप सभी जानते हैं, हम सभी जानते हैं। धर्म अगर एक फैक्टर बन के उभर रहा है तो क्यों उभर रहा है? उसकी वजह है कि हमारे शिक्षण संस्थान बहुत मिजरेबली फेल हुए हैं। जो चीजें, जो सहयोग हमें साइकियाट्रिस्ट, मनोचिकित्सक को देना चाहिए, वो बाबा लोग, मौलवी लोग देने लगे। आप जाके देखिए, लोग दुखी हैं, परेशान हैं, लेकिन वहां जाके हमको ये प्रॉब्लम है, वो कुछ बात बताते हैं, लोग समझते हैं वो सही है, गलत है, लॉजिकल इलॉजिकल है, अलग बात है। इतने एक्सप्लॉयटेशन होने के बाद लोग इन बाबाओं और मौलवियों के चक्कर में हमेशा फंसे रहते हैं। जो आप देखेंगे यूरोप का इतिहास, जो चर्च और उसकी लड़ाई चल रही थी, जहाँ पे चर्च किसी की गलती को भी जस्टिफाई कर ले रहा था, अगर आप विश्व इतिहास को पढ़ेंगे तो आप जानते होंगे। तो इन चीजों को समझने की आवश्यकता है। अब जब सारी संस्थाएं अपनी भूमिका को ठीक से नहीं निभा पाई, तो ऑब्वियसली यह धर्म हुआ, उसके बाद कुछ और चीज आएगी आगे जो उससे भी ज्यादा संकीर्ण होगी। हो सकता है जाति आ जाए, उसके बाद हो सकता है जेंडर आ जाए। तो फिर हम वापस जा रहे हैं अपने विकास की जो गति थी, जिसमें हम अंतरराष्ट्रीयवाद और ग्लोबल सिटीजन की और ग्लोबल गवर्नेंस की बात करना शुरू किए थे, वहां से हम वापस जा रहे हैं। अगर आप देखिए तो ये एक सीरियस कंसर्न है जो आपने रेज किया, उससे मैं बिल्कुल सहमत हूँ और योर पॉइंट इज वेल टेकन।
देखिए, सोल्यूशन एक सेंटेंस में है, इफ यू कैन सेपरेट पॉलिटिक्स फ्रॉम रिलीजन एंड मेक रिलीजन एज योर पर्सनल मैटर, देन एवरीथिंग विल बी फाइन।
डॉक्टर प्रगति दुबे, I can see you have raised your hand. Dr. Pragati.
Yes, namaste ma'am. My name is Dr. Pragati Dubey, Department of Sociology, Government Degree College, Jungle Korea, Gorakhpur. Ma'am, my question is, what is the difference between cultural configuration and multiculturalism, which is developed by Ruth Benedict? If you...
Cultural configuration means it tells us the, configuration of a particular culture. Means the way culture has been framed, उसमें उस कल्चर के मूल्य क्या हैं, उस कल्चर के तौर तरीके क्या हैं, वो एक पर्टिकुलर कल्चर का एक कॉन्फ़िगरेशन होता है जिसमें वो बता रहे हैं कि उसमें क्या क्या विद इन कल्चर आप कैसे उसको देख पाते हैं। ठीक है, रिलीजन का क्या स्पेस है वहाँ, मानवता का क्या स्पेस है वहां पर, साइंटिफिक टेम्परामेंट का क्या स्पेस है वहां। ठीक है, जबकि मल्टी कल्चरलिज्म की जब आप बात करते हैं तो आप एक ऐसे समाज की बात करते हैं जिसमें वो लोग जो संख्या में कम है, या एक ऑब्वियसली अगर एक समाज की या देश की बात आप करेंगे तो उसमें एक समूह होगा जो संख्या में ज्यादा होगा, कुछ होंगे उससे कम होंगे, कुछ होंगे बहुत कम होंगे। तो इसमें ये भी नहीं होता है कि आप उस समूह को प्राइवेटाइज कर दें। प्राइवेटाइज मतलब राज्य उनको कोई हस्तक्षेप नहीं करेगा, कोई उनको कुछ नहीं बोलेगा, ये भी नहीं करना है कि आपने प्राइवेटाइज कर दिया। ठीक है, आपको ये भी नहीं करना है कि हमें जैसे तैसे बस बर्दाश्त कर लेना है, टॉलरेट कर लेना है, ये भी मल्टीकल्चरलिज्म नहीं है। मल्टीकल्चरलिज्म ये है कि यू सेलिब्रेट द डाइवर्सिटी, आप उसको सेलिब्रेट करते हैं। और सेलिब्रेट कैसे करते हैं? एक दूसरे से सीख कर करते हैं। आपकी सरकार सेलिब्रेट करती है, आपका राज्य सेलिब्रेट करता है, उसका सेलिब्रेशन पॉलिसीज में दिखता है, हमारा सेलिब्रेशन हमारे बिहेवियर में दिखता है। एज अ नेबरहुड हमारा नेबर कैसा है, मेरा नेबर सिख भी हो सकता है, लेकिन मैं जाके लोहड़ी मनाऊंगी और मैं जब होली दिवाली मनाऊंगी तो वो भी मेरे साथ मनाएंगे। तो ये हुआ सेलिब्रेशन। और जब आपने कहा कि हम टॉलरेट कर रहे हैं, मतलब बस हैं रह रहे हैं, हमको कुछ बोलना नहीं है, ठीक है, क्योंकि कानून का डर है आपको, तब आप टॉलरेट कर रहे हैं। और उससे भी खराब है, इस पर भी डिबेट है, मल्टीकल्चरलिज्म प्राइवेटाइज कर देना। ना डोमिनेंट ग्रुप कुछ बोलेगा, ना सरकार कुछ बोलेगी, उनके इश्यूज को आपने लिया ही नहीं कंसिडरेशन में, क्योंकि आपने उसे प्राइवेट अफेयर के तौर पे छोड़ दिया है। तो मल्टीकल्चरलिज्म एक बहुत ही ब्रॉडर आइडिया है जो हमारे परिवार से शुरू होता है, स्कूल में जाता है। आप अपने स्कूल में जो एनेक्डोट्स देते हैं, बच्चों को पढ़ाते हैं, छोटे बच्चों को, तो आप उन्हें ये भी बताएंगे, ईदगाह भी पढ़ाएंगे, और आप उन्हें प्रेमचंद्र की झूरी और उसके बैल की कहानी भी पढ़ाएंगे। तब मल्टीकल्चरलिज्म होगा। मल्टीकल्चरलिज्म सिर्फ प्रेमचंद्र को पढ़ाने से नहीं हो जाएगा, और प्रेमचंद को भी पढ़ा के, तो प्रेमचंद ने सबके बारे में लिखा है, वो सबके बारे में आपको बताना पड़ेगा। ईद की कहानियां सुनाएंगे तो होली की भी आप सुनाएंगे, और आप लोहड़ी की भी सुनाएंगे। ठीक है, अगर आप हीरोज का सिलेक्शन करेंगे तो हीरोज में आपको सबको चुनना पड़ेगा। ये नहीं है कि आपने रानी लक्ष्मीबाई को तो बता दिया, लेकिन अरुणा आसफ अली के बारे में नहीं बताएंगे। तो ये हुआ मल्टीकल्चर।
ठीक है, ये इंग्लैंड में, लंदन में एक प्रोग्राम्स होते हैं, पाकिस्तान डे, इंडिया डे, अफ्रीका डे। वहाँ की लोकल काउंटी गवर्नमेंट पैसा देती है वहाँ की कम्युनिटी को कि आप अपना नेशनल डे मनाएं। वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, यू नो। अर्लियर बिफोर Second World War, England was also, England was following multicultural policies. Christianity was dominant. Even today, the blasphemy law covers only Christianity. Other religions are not covered in the blasphemy law of England. But culturally, England or London is promoting multiculturalism. वहाँ पे पाकिस्तान डे होता है, इंडिया डे होता है, अफ्रीका डे होता है। तो वो लोग कल्चरल फेस्टिवल मनाते हैं, तरह तरह के फूड मिलता है, दूसरे कम्युनिटी वाले भी जाके खाना खाते हैं वहाँ पे, पैसे दे के खाते हैं, वैसे फ्री में नहीं, बट दे सेलिब्रेट, वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग। उस तरह का हमको भी यहाँ पे करना चाहिए इंडिया में। वी शुड आल्सो एम्यूलेट सम गुड प्रैक्टिसेस ऑफ गुड मल्टीकल्चरल स्टेट्स। इंग्लैंड जैसा देश अगर इस तरह की चीजों को प्रमोट कर रहा है तो हम तो भाई 2000 साल से मल्टीकल्चरल हैं, हम अपना मॉडल पूरी दुनिया में सेल करना चाहिए, लिविंग टुगेदर इन पीस। Friends, I think all the questions are over. Is there anybody still having a question? If you have, that can be the last question, and then I can request Dr. Pragati Dubey to propose vote of thanks to our resource person, who is also like resourceful person. We can consider as resourceful person. So if there is no question, प्रगति दुबे जी रिक्वेस्टेड टू। हाँ जी, एक सवाल पूछिए। ये लास्ट सवाल, लास्ट।
I just want to know that government started an initiative that Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat. So I just want to know that how this program is helpful in promoting cultural connection between the states.
What program is that? What is that program?
Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat.
I exactly do not remember what are the content of this program, but if we say Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat means Ek doesn't mean that only one homogeneity should be there. As far as my understanding, if it promotes homogeneity, then it would not be good for a country like India, which is diverse in geography, ethnicity, caste, religion, culture, so many things. But if this Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat encompasses all the people coming from Northeast, South India, North India, West India, then definitely it would be a good effort to make this country great. But exactly, I do not know. I do not remember actually. I have read it, the exact content of this policy.
There is no need to know about this because ये लफ्जों का खेल है. ये गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट सीरियस. देखिए, हमको एक अमेरिकन मॉडल देखिए और इंडियन मॉडल देखिए. अमेरिकन मॉडल ऑफ नेशन बिल्डिंग इज असिमिलेशन. दैट इज यू कैन से मेल्टिंग पॉट अप्रोच. एक पॉट रखा है आपने, उसमें तरह तरह के दाने डाल दिए, खिचड़ी बन गया. इंडियन मॉडल इज नॉट असिमिलेशन. In assimilation you lose your original identity. Assimilation में क्या होता है, अपनी आपकी ओरिजिनल आइडेंटिटी, वेदर कल्चरल, लिंग्विस्टिक और रिलीजियस आइडेंटिटी यू लूज. हमारा जो मॉडल है, जैसा इन्होंने कहा, सलाद बॉल मॉडल, अलग अलग खीरे का टेस्ट अलग है, प्याज का टेस्ट अलग है, चेरीज अगर डालें उसका टेस्ट अलग है, यू नो, और बुके मॉडल. तो हमारा जो अप्रोच है सिंस इंडिपेंडेंस, I am not talking about the last 11 years. I am talking about India's post-independent period. हमारा क्या अप्रोच है, सरकार का अप्रोच क्या है? इंटीग्रेशन मॉडल. इंटीग्रेशन इज टोटली डिफरेंट फ्रॉम असिमिलेशन. असिमिलेशन में आप अपनी ओरिजिनल आइडेंटिटी को खोते हैं. इंटीग्रेशन में यू आर इंटीग्रेटेड, यू आर यूनाइटेड, बट यू मेंटेन योर ओन आइडेंटिटी. तो इंटीग्रेशन मॉडल, नेशनल इंटीग्रेशन जो वर्ड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में यूज हुआ है, दैट नीड्स टू बी प्रोमोटेड. कंपोजिट कल्चर जो फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज में यूज हुआ है, दैट नीड्स टू बी प्रोमोटेड. प्रियम्बल में जो सेक्युलरिज्म वर्ड है, दैट नीड्स टू बी रिटेन्ड, प्रोमोटेड. अभी कुछ हमारे होसबोड़े साहब जो हैं, उन्होंने कहा कि साहब ये वर्ड हटा देनी चाहिए कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से. You know, these kind of things are to divide people. So the objective here to promote multiculturalism is that can be achieved only when politics is separated from religion. एक सेंटेंस में मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ. Thank you very much. Now Pragati Dubey ji will propose vote of thanks.
Thank you, Vijay sir. Ma'am, such a wonderful lecture on the topic multiculturalism, Indian and Western perspective. Behalf of UGC MMTTC, Aligarh Muslim University, and all the participants, ma'am, thank you so much. Such a wonderful lecture. And ma'am, मैं sociology से हूँ, तो culture और anthropology एक पार्ट है हम लोग के, खासतौर पे पीजी क्लासेस में. तो उसमें कल्चर को बहुत ज्यादा डिफाइन किया गया है. कल्चर कॉम्प्लेक्स, कल्चर सॉक, कल्चरल, बहुत सारे चीज, टॉफलर, रूट, पेनेटिक, मेलिनोस्की, हम लोग सब इसके बारे में पढ़ते हैं. पर मैम, आज आपने जो बताया वो एक ऐसा पार्ट है जिससे हम सब बहुत बहुत लाभान्वित हुए. तो थैंक यू सो मच. एंड यस, थैंक यू मैम. थैंक यू विजयपुर सर.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vijayapur sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
एक सवाल था सर. चलिए, एक सवाल था.
थैंक यू सर. थैंक
हाँ
यू
जी,
वेरी मच.
सवाल पूछिए अगर किसी का सवाल है.
तो जो
हम दे
अगला
देंगे जवाब.
असाइनमेंट है NEP 2020 पे, उसके बारे में थोड़ा सा बता दें.
देखिए, ऐसा है, इसका ऐसा है, NEP 2020 एक छोटा सा डॉक्यूमेंट है. मेरे ख्याल में 40-50 पेज का है. वैसे कायदे से उसको पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है, लेकिन अभी आप क्योंकि कोर्स कर रहे हैं तो उसको पढ़ना जरूरी है.
बिल्कुल सर.
क्योंकि उसमें कोई इनोवेशंस है नहीं. I did not find it, it is my personal opinion, I did not find it a very significant document. लेकिन आप पढ़िए, उसको पढ़ के जो आपकी समझ में आ जाए, आपके जो रिएक्शंस हैं, जो कमेंट्स हैं, एग्रीमेंट के और डिसएग्रीमेंट के, उसी को आप रेखांकित कीजिए. यू गॉट माय पॉइंट। आप डॉक्यूमेंट पढ़िए। अब हमारे जो इवेल्युएटर्स हैं, मुझे नहीं पता कि वो आपके 200 सबमिशंस पढ़ेंगे। आई डू नॉट नो, आई हैव नो आइडिया, बिकॉज दैट जॉब इज डन बाय समबडी एल्स। My job is only to find out right persons as resource persons and to conceive this course. मेरा ये काम है। लेकिन मैं आपको आइडिया दे रहा हूं कि भाई उस डॉक्यूमेंट को पढ़िए, फिर उसको बंद कीजिए, आपके दिमाग में जो आइडियाज आते हैं उसको लिख डालिए। अप्रिशिएटिंग और
सवाल था कि
हाँ जी,
एक सवाल था सर कि अगले वीक के लिए जो हम लोगों को शेड्यूल दिया गया है,
मैंने पूरा शेड्यूल डाल दिया है। 12
जी सर बिल्कुल। तो उसमें लास्ट क्लास जो 3 से 4:30 तक है, उसमें कुछ आसिफ इरशाद खान डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ कंप्यूटर साइंस इनका दिखाया गया है। तो क्या ये क्लास लेंगे या कुछ
नहीं, वो
प्रैक्टिकल वर्क होगा?
आई डोंट नो, आई थिंक आई मे हैव करेक्टेड। अभी मैं लेट मी चेक फ्रॉम माय लैपटॉप वेयर इट हैज गॉन। वो एक तरह से वेल्डेक्टरी फंक्शन है। लास्ट जो 4:30 से शायद वो हम बता देंगे। अभी
नहीं सर, डेली ट्यूसडे, वेडनेसडे, थर्सडे, फ्राइडे 4 दिन लगातार है। 2 अलग अलग कंप्यूटर साइंस के डिपार्टमेंट के लोगों का 3 से 4:30 में। एक आपको आसिफ इरशाद खान है और एक मोहम्मद नदीम है। इन 2 लोगों का नाम लिखा हुआ है।
ये हम पूछ के बताएंगे। वो इसलिए कि चौथा सेशन अब तक जो चल रहा है वो कागज पे है और प्रैक्टिस में नहीं है। यू आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग माय पॉइंट?
ये बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं सर। वो सेशन एंड
ये आ गए, ये सही जवाब देने वाले आ गए। देखिए ये पीछे से